Hello everyone, this is our project 3 for CS 424, Visualization and Visual Analytics. The main page is just a documentation page and have a lot of the features and pictures of the features that you can take a look. So normally if you want to run it locally on your local machine, you just click on the Here app to download the zip files of all the source code, and you double click on the index.html file. That's going to take you to the main page, this page, so that you can run on any browser. We recommend running it on Firefox, and also since we're using the Equinox API, I think to an extent you also need an internet connection for you to get the data locally on your machine. So when you loaded this the tutorial page, the page is going to look like you have space for user 1 and user 2. They can select an artist, select all artists, the top 10 artists for the decade, select the top 10 artists, select all journals, select the top 10 journal, and you can see there's a timeline here that has all the decades in there. You could just highlight on them and see all the journals in that decade, the top 10 journals in that decade. And also when you load it, there's like the control for the user. They can search for a journal, search for artists, and they can click on a year to select the top 10 artists or the top 10 journal for that decade. And you can see there's a map that's going to display on top of the application, the middle of the screen. You can see where each of those artists have been located in the world map. When you hover on them, it's going to come up with the artist name and the country. For artists in the United States, it comes up with the city or state, city and state in most cases. And this is how the timeline will look. We also give the user an option for them to choose from the timeline or the directory graph so that they could take a look at that. This is our source, where we get our source, most of our source materials that helped us during this project. Mostly we get the data from Econet's website and their API, which stores information, mostly music, about information about artists, music, and the journals from 1900 to 2014. Also, some of the interesting facts that we find about this website is that most of the artists are concentrated mostly in Western Europe and North America. Fewer artists from Asia, none from Africa, and also the application itself is not 100% reliable. The API is not 100% reliable. The way the data are being arranged in the database is kind of like not correct, and also we can also saw like from the 60s to date, I think one of the most popular journals out there is the Rock Journal. And this is the work distribution on how we split the work over time during this project. And we also have a weekly update page that you can see how we distribute the work weekly over here. So let's go ahead and like demo the app, and so that you take a look at it. So you just click on the application icon here. It takes you to the application. So when it loads, you're just going to see the world map. You can click on the timeline. It shows you the timeline. When you hover on each of the timeline, it prints out the journals that are the top 10 in that decade. And also you could just click on all artists. It split out all the top 10 artists from the first decade to the present one. And one cool thing about it is that when you click on each of the artists, it shows you all the journal that the artists belong to. So both users can do that. You can click on the artist. It shows you the journal that artist belongs, all the journals that artist belong to. Also, you could just pick a decade, say maybe the 2000, and you hit top 10 artists. When you hit top 10 artists, it shows you all the artists and the 2000, and also you can see where each of the artists are located on the map right here. And when you hover on the artist, it shows you the country of origin. Some in the US, it just shows you the states and the ones in the US. And also you could search for an artist, say for instance, which search for say maybe Nas, and you hit search. It brings out all the artists that are similar to Nas right here based on their similarities. And also say we could type say maybe a journal, and you hit search. It brings out all the journals that are similar to that journal you type on the search button. Same thing, the other user can do the same thing too. You could click 10 all the journals, all the 10 journals, and you could pick a decade also, and say maybe the 50s, and pick the top 10 journals, and also you could pick a top 10 artists, and you could list all of them here, and it's going to show you where they're located in the map and what city, what state they're located in the map. For instance, Bob Dylan, Minnesota. Uh, this artist is from Ireland, and also when you click on each of the artists, you also display all the genres that those artists belong to. The second user can search here. So let's search for maybe say Jay-Z, and hit search. So it prints out all the artists that are similar to Jay-Z here, and we can just see, maybe we'll type in a genre here, hip hop, and search. It prints out all the similar genres in hip hop. Basically, it's still a work in progress. There are a lot of things that we could have added to this project, but because of time and the limited manpower that we had, we just had 2 people in the group. So we're going to implement the comparison part, but we weren't able to do that because of time, and we had the workload was really a lot on us, so we couldn't get that done. And also, yeah, that's one of the things that I felt that was really touching, that we couldn't make for this application. We'll still a learning process for us, and we're still working on it. So basically, this is our app for right now, and you can have comments, or ask questions in class when we're presenting, so that we can go over and correct some stuff and maybe improve more on it. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.